Today we're going to be brewing my favourite recipe with the Chemex. Welcome back to About Coffee, where we talk about all different things to do with coffee, and today we're going to be brewing the Chemex. The Chemex was founded in 1941 by a German who was a chemist and played around with loads of different glassware and created the Chemex. It is one of the most beautiful things in coffee, in my opinion. I think it looks awesome anywhere you have it, and I always get excited when I walk into a coffee shop and see that they have a Chemex because I know they're ready to play. What I love about the Chemex most of all is that it's a very communal thing. You can brew your coffee for multiple people. It's not just one cup. You can definitely have more cups from it. So that is the recipe I'm going to be brewing for you today. And today we need to start off with 30 grams of coffee. I'm going to grind my coffee to a medium coarse grind. Now, something you're going to need as well as your Chemex is your Chemex papers. Now, there's a load of variety of Chemex papers that you can get. You can get cloth ones that are obviously reusable, which is great for the environment. There's also these paper ones, and there's different varieties of paper ones as well. So it's worth having a little bit of a research of which ones would be best for you. Something else you're going to need is a set of scales. Now, this is very important because you need to know how much coffee you're putting in, how much water you're pouring over. Now, some scales have built-in timers, super useful as you are going to be timing this brew. But if you don't have a timer inbuilt in your scales, don't worry, just use your phone. And by the magic of editing, I have my ground coffee. I've ground my coffee in my Wilfer grinder, a great starting point for any grinders that you're looking at. It's a really good price and definitely worth looking into. Now, before I pour my coffee in, I do need to wet my filter paper. Now, what wetting the paper does is that it just gets rid of any papery taste. We don't want any papery taste left over in our coffee, definitely not what we want. So just wet your filter paper, rinse it round. Now, the double bonus with this is it's also going to heat up the bottom of your Chemex, which means that you're not going to have a cold Chemex you're pouring into. So go ahead and add your 30 grams of coffee. Make sure you've got a flat base to pour over. You want that nice and flat. And then we are going to have our first bloom. Now, what bloom does is basically it releases all the gases. What you're doing is pouring some water on and it blooms the coffee. So what we're going to do is pour 60 ml for that first bloom. Before you start pouring though, make sure you've started your timer and we can pour away. And we're going to do this for 30 seconds. We want a 30-second bloom. So I'm now going to let it sit. Make sure when you pour, do it in nice small circles, not hitting the side of the papers, as obviously we don't want that papery taste. Now, after 30 seconds, we're going to do our second pour, which is 200 milliliters. Now, once that's hit 1 minute 30 seconds, we're going to add another 200 milliliters. Now, something with the Chemex that is a negative is that it can create a bit of a vacuum. Now, you'll see on other brewers, like the V60, that they have little indents on the side, which means that they have air to go through the side, whereas this can create an air seal. So a little tip to avoid that is if you just lift up your paper ever so slightly, it just releases that little bit of air and doesn't create a vacuum. So with a total of 460 milliliters in there, we are now all done and we are ready to get rid of our filter paper. Now, make sure you've got something to put that filter paper into, as it can get quite messy. And there's a little top tip from many a times that I've made mess in my kitchen and then regretted that I didn't have something by me. But there we go, guys. A Chemex all brewed, ready for you and your friend. You can get going with that Chemex straight away. I love the Chemex. I think it's one of the most beautiful things, a great little crowd pleaser to be brewing with in the morning with your friends over breakfast. So have a try with that recipe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell, as we have loads of different brewing methods coming right here to this channel, and I'd hate for you to miss out. So I'll see you in the next episode of About Coffee.